My name is Dr. Arthur Shield. This banquet is partly in my honor and partly in the honor of Dr. Ira Blissing. We have developed a new drug which speeds up the regeneration of nerve and muscle tissue. I've given almost 10 years of my life to this work. Now, here at this banquet, among the members of my profession, Dr. Blissing and I will be awarded medals of achievement. But when this medal is held out to me, will I be able to accept it?
This is Talkback. Our drama for this program is called A Handful of Ashes. Our guest is the Reverend Ernest Dixon, staff member, Board of Education of the Methodist Church. Later, Dr. Ross Snyder and Mr. Merle Emery will be asking Mr. Dixon questions raised by our play.
My name is Dr. Arthur Shield. This banquet is partly in my honor and partly in the honor of Dr. Ira Blissing. We have developed a new drug which speeds up the regeneration of nerve and muscle tissue. I've given almost 10 years of my life to this work. Now, here at this banquet, among the members of my profession, Dr. Blissing and I will be awarded medals of achievement. But when this medal is held out to me, will I be able to accept it? I don't know. The actual work of this project had been carried on in our small university laboratory for a number of years. A group of expert medical researchers and I had made slow but steady progress in our search for a substance to promote the healing process.
Well, we've got a genius on our hands. That was a pure gold, that idea. All right, pure gold. Listen, let's break. Have some sandwiches. Good. Have a party. It's called for. Listen, you've got to get some butter, some other kinds of things.
Someday soon we'll have a real party. Right now I'd settle some coffee.
Good idea. Come on.
It's a good day's work. Oh, it's beautiful. In time, the work began to look more and more encouraging, and the progress of our group attracted attention within the university and outside too. Money began to come in. The university received grants for support of the project, and Dr. Ira Blissing, co-chairman of the university's School of Research, placed himself directly in charge of our affairs. That was less than 1 year ago today.
Let me tell you, I want to set up an organization. Extensive field testing, and we can start seeing how well the drug works.
Wait. We're not ready for that yet.
But Arthur, there are two other groups. One in St. Louis and the other one in the West Coast. And they're both working on the same sort of thing. It's important that we start working as quickly as possible. Well, it would be terrible if we let them steal our thunder.
Still, it is not a race.
It is from now on. Now, I want to start to adjust the schedule of your lab workers and shuffle their assignments around to get faster work from them. Now, first, there's the question of reports.
Under the new administration of Dr. Blissing, the character of the group and my role in the project began to change. It happened subtly and yet swiftly, and it was disturbing.
Oh, boy. A long night.
Davidson, go home.
Yeah, I will, as soon as I finish up inside. You going someplace?
Yeah, Dr. Blissing and I are going to Denver at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh. Listen, Art, is it necessary for you to go? I mean, can't Blissing handle that?
Well, he thinks I ought to talk to the people there.
But, Art, since when do you have to lecture pharmaceutical houses? The precipitation test is more important. I need you for it.
I'm afraid you'll have to do that yourself.
Listen, Art, he just wants to show you off, that's all. I really need your brains on that test.
Dr. Blissing doesn't think that the precipitation test is necessary.
He what?
That's right. Look, why don't you and I go out and have ourselves a cup of coffee?
Well, I won't have the time to go out. I've got to finish that experiment in there.
Isn't there coffee in the lab?
Oh, that's been discontinued some time ago. It's time-consuming.
The great amount of money given the project flowed in and out of our hands like water. Field tests were organized. The drug that I had thought not ready was being used on volunteers. And we were pounding hard in a race I had never wanted. There's no reason why we can't do things this new way.
Come on, Art, please. Blissing is running this place if we're turning out toys on a factory line, on an assembly line. Now, you can't ask a group of serious labmen to do a month's work in a week's time. Now, you know that. It's working day and night, you know that. I'm sorry.
In the pressure of the race, the breakdown of my group became swiftly a matter of crisis for me. Yes? Oh, Dr. Blissing. No, I just dozed off for a minute. What's on your mind? I cannot get rid of Davidson. No. No. All right, I'll be right in.
I don't care, Arthur. This man has deliberately sabotaged his experiments. It's either that or he's plainly incompetent. What excuse have we for keeping him on?
Ira, I cannot fire him.
Can't we discuss this? I'm not trying to upset you. I'm not trying to tell you how to handle your men.
I'm sorry. I thought you were.
Arthur, we two have been at this together too long for a disagreement like this.
The truth is that since this project has become a national matter,
we're
I have
working
lost
for grabs.
something, and I know it. Now, the work we were doing was fine, but you seem to look upon my associates as my employees, or your employees, and they're colleagues, and their contribution is as important as mine. Now, Jerry Davidson is particularly brilliant. I could no more fire him than I could fire you.
Arthur, I appreciate your frankness, and I'll be just as frank. In accepting the foundation money, in accepting the participation of this university, you've accepted me as the administrator. You can't fire me, that's true. I'm in charge. But I can relieve you off the project.
Wait a minute. I want to understand this.
Yes, and it's very important that you should. Now, this has gone beyond your friendly little group. In the last few months, I've sweated and driven myself to achieve something. It's almost in my hands. This will mean money and prestige for the university. It's the beginning of a large organization with responsibility for me. Now, Davidson is holding us back. I want this man dismissed. I want 2 competent technicians hired. We can get 2 for what we've been paying Davidson. I don't need any more geniuses here. Now, either you get rid of him or I'll accept your resignation.
Come in. Come in. Okay.
Well, you can chew me out, Art. I guess Blissing blew his stack over that report, didn't he?
Yep.
Well, go ahead. I'm used to it.
Jerry, what was the idea?
The idea of what? There's nothing wrong with that report. There's nothing wrong with that experiment.
Except that it took 3 weeks to do it and you should have done it in 1. There are 2 experiments completely stopped because you...
Because I was careful. Because I didn't get precisely the result we'd hoped for on one test, and because I triple-checked everything instead of barreling past it just to keep up with Blissing's roller derby. Now, I've always worked that way. You know that.
All right, Jerry.
Is that all?
No. Sit down, please. Jerry, we're going to make a public announcement in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
And I know you've worked very hard. It's going to be even harder for you to sit back and watch from now on.
Sit back and watch. Blissing wants me fired, Art, doesn't he? Art, doesn't he? Well, you can fire me, Doctor. And talk to me about sitting back and watching from now on. Spare me that, please. You have to fire me, go ahead. Do it, say it, and let's get it over with.
Jerry, help me, please.
Can't help you, Art. If it'll give you any great wave of comfort, I won't mind going under these circumstances. The drug is wonderful, but the human price we're going to pay for it is too high. And at the speed that Blissing wants it done, well, I'm afraid the quality of the work is going to be too unreliable.
I hope that's not true.
Of course it's true. I know my work. I cannot be irresponsible about it just to please Blissing, or even you are. Now, if you want dumb machines, you get them. They don't need responsibility or dignity. I do.
I don't want this to happen, but I have no more authority. Blissing has it. I have no choice.
Then quit. Just stand up and quit.
I think of the drug and what it'll mean to millions of people and what I put of myself into it.
Art, when you pay this price for it, all you're going to have left is a handful of ashes.
I don't know anymore. I don't know.
All right. You can fire me, please do so.
It's not me, Jerry. It's Blissing.
Art, it's you. You can either do it or refuse. You always have a choice. Am I fired or not?
You are fired.
Thank you. Goodbye, Art. Yes, certainly yes. Will you give me that again, please? Yes, thank you, Paul. Yes, bye-bye.
I want to talk to you about Jerry Davidson.
Forget about Davidson. I've just heard from Denver. They've just put together their first field figures. And the drug is effective, Arthur. Beautifully effective. We've got it now.
Well, they can tell that quickly?
Enough. They can tell enough. They've got the figures. It's the first real test, and it works. We won.
For his immense services to humanity, we award this gold medal of exceptional achievement, Dr. Ira Blissing.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much.
And now the second medal. We can go back almost 10 years when that which
Yes.
we honor and
My name is Dr. Arthur Shield.
was a mere dream.
This banquet is partly in my honor.
Graduate student.
This medal,
A man determined to shape
my name engraved upon it.
our receiving
Can I accept it?
Well, I'm still with this young doctor who's struggling with his conscience as far as I can feel it. Looks like he feels he's about to destroy something or has destroyed something very precious to him.
Yes, I think so.
Can you feel what's going on inside the young doctor as of this particular moment?
Yes, I can feel working in an organization. I can see being concerned about people, realizing what this drug means to people. Then he's put 10 years of himself into this project, and he doesn't want to walk away and leave it. On the other hand, he recognizes that in the process of going along with the head of the research group, Dr. Blissing, the elderly man who came in late, he realizes that he has lost a true image of himself and really what he is and what he would like to become. And also in the process, he's alienated himself from a group of men with whom he has worked for years. And this struggle is going on inside. It's a perennial struggle with us. This desire for status, the desire for success, the desire for security, all of these fears and anxieties are wrapped up in this young research.
Mr. Dixon, in looking at this same problem, don't you see a little more in here than the possibility of Dr. Shields destroying something within himself? Isn't there a possibility of destroying an entire profession?
Yes, I think so. There are certain disciplines involved in the profession in which he is engaged. There are certain goals, certainly, that a man would like to reach. There is a sense of destiny, if I might use that term, that, well, in any profession a man may have, but in this profession, he sees himself, really, his image has been blurred now because of his relationship to this elderly man who has come in to head the project in its latter stages.
There were two words used here, responsibility and human dignity. That one ought to be able to have a working group in which these are possible for everybody.
Yes.
This makes real sense to you?
This makes real sense to me. Well, and certainly I'm talking now out of a Christian discipline, but when an individual recognizes or can agree with the words in John's one of the epistles of John, the biblical statement, which I think is the basis of human dignity. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be. Recognizing that no matter how low an individual may sink, or how they may handle themselves, or what they may do, that they are still a son of God, and basically our brothers, and we have a responsibility to them.
May I interrupt here for a definition, if you please? What do we mean exactly by human dignity? This word dignity sometimes has other connotations, even to the place of being pompous or something of this sort. But how does human dignity differ from this? What do we mean by it?
You're talking now, as I see it, human dignity in the Christian sense.
Yes.
Derives or grows out of an individual's relationship to a power outside itself, which gives its value and gives its worth. A relationship to he or its creator. A relationship of the created to the creator. In the sense that because I believe that God created this world, and he created man and placed him in it, do you see? we are made in God's image. This means every individual, then, is made in God's image. God loves every individual. He has no favorites. But we all can accept or reject God's love. But our acceptance or rejection of God's love has nothing to do with the innate dignity of every human being in this sense.
Could I ask you a quite personal question? You can answer it or not. I've had a feeling that our parents who are of the Negro group have a particular, shall we say, both opportunity and tough problem. How do you teach your own children that they are a human dignity, no matter what anybody says or does to them?
Well, I must admit, first of all, that this is difficult.
Yes.
Because, well, to use some of the words that we throw around, Negroes, or minority groups, Negroes especially in the United States, have been what we might call brainwashed to a certain extent, or let me say to think a certain way about themselves as human beings, as second-class citizens. Murdahl, if I recall correctly, in his book, The American Dilemma, makes the observation that the damnable thing about the long period of slavery that the Negro in America experienced, the damnable thing about it was not that the Negro had to work long hours, not that he was oppressed, not that he was whipped, not that even parents were torn away from their children and they never knew who their children were, or children never knew who their parents were. But he said that the thing that has really stamped itself upon the Negro in America is the fact that he was taught to believe in his own inferiority.
Now, would you mind just saying how this hits you personally at some point that you could share with us as you deal with your own children?
Let me share from the standpoint of my children. Somehow you absorb this attitude. And a few years ago, we've got two boys.
Yes.
I guess at that time, our oldest boy was 8 and our youngest boy was 5. We were riding along, taking an afternoon ride in the city of Austin, Texas. We passed by a recreation area. They had hobby horses and all the other things that attract youngsters. And our 5-year-old looked out the window and he said, Daddy, let's stop. I want to ride the hobby horse. And immediately the 8-year-old youngster said, Ernest, you can't go there because they don't allow colored people. Now, it means that you have to deal with this thing. It's pressed in upon them day after day.
And what do you say and do about it?
Let me take a positive approach to this, because we have a daughter who was the second child in an integrated school here in Nashville. To begin with, we were a little concerned. We were fearful of what might happen. It was a new experience. A little girl, 6-year-old, placing her in a new situation, placing her in a classroom with persons who were different from her. Just the mere fact of going to school for the first time is an experience for a youngster. And in these formative years, they can take off in any direction. Well, it was interesting, and the teacher, one of her teachers, indicated that she had some concern regarding whether our daughter would turn in upon herself, and feel that she was different and that she could not measure up. But it's been amazing how our daughter, as she has shared in the classroom, shared experiences in the classroom with these youngsters, how she has gained confidence. She's one of the leading spellers in the class. The teachers have have been very, very good. They have been very alert to take advantage of every opportunity to indicate that there are differences, but these differences are not on the basis of the racial identity or color of a person's skin, but they are differences of various human beings. For example, there was one incident that happened which I think helped our daughter and to realize that she was a human being just like all of the other youngsters, and if the teacher had not handled it differently, I think this might have had an adverse effect upon her. She has heavy, coarse hair, and my wife braids it. Sometimes a little girl goes out on the campus, and in the process of playing, the braid will come apart. And this particular day, she was engaged in rather vigorous play, and her braid came loose, and the hair was bushy all over her head. Her hair looked quite different from the other youngsters in the class, and there was one little boy in particular who just wanted to feel our daughter's hair. And the teacher sensed this, so that when they went back into the classroom, in order to satisfy this youngster's curiosity, she said, you know, all of us have different hairstyles and different hairdos. Let's just take a little time to feel each other's hair. There is Johnny over there, he has a butch haircut. And here is Mary over here, she has long braids. Another girl had a close bob. So they engaged in a feeling of hair experience, and the whole incident just passed off. It was just another experience that our girl had. But now, if she had been singled out and if the teacher had not been alert, I've gone a long way around to answer your question, but I thought I would take it in this positive way because I think that this whole matter of relationships, how we relate ourselves to other people and how other people relate themselves to us.
It occurs to me that this teacher had real professional competence and real professional standards which she came to her help in this particular situation.
Yes.
One of the great reasons why we shouldn't destroy the standards of a profession.
Very definitely so, and tell persons, for example, dictate...
This discussion isn't finished until you have thought through to your satisfaction the questions which Dr. Snyder, Mr. Emery, and Mr. Dixon have been considering. Perhaps you will want to continue to think and talk about the issues which Talkback is raising. Talkback is a public service program presented by this station and the churches of your community. It was produced in cooperation with the National Council of Churches as a contribution of the Methodist Television Ministry.